Welcome to all to the YouTube channel of Adhibakta Parishad Odisha unit. Today we are celebrating the Constitution Day, and on this occasion we welcome to our distinguished speaker Shri M.Nageswara ji, and Nageswara ji needs no introduction. A retired IPS officer, former Director of CBI. Not only this, he is a good writer, nationalistic thinker, and he has been delivering a number of speeches on national interest. And today we have selected a topic that is the equal rights of Hindus under the Indian Constitution. I request Nageswara ji to deliver the speech on this subject. Sir.
Thank you. Namaskar, Devshish Babu. I thank Devshish Babu and all the members of the Adhibakta Parishad Odisha for inviting me to speak on the subject of equal rights for Hindus under the Constitution on the occasion of the Constitution Day or the National Law Day. As you all know, we celebrate or we commemorate this day as a National Law Day because on this day in 1949, the draft constitution was adopted by the Constituent Assembly, which came into force after 2 months, that is 26th of January 1950. I would like to make a PowerPoint presentation, and as we go ahead with discussing the topic. But before that, I would like to put a caveat. That is, Adhibakta Parishad means is an advocates forum. And advocates are the people who are well versed in law, constitution, courtcraft, and other jurisprudential issues. So me, being a non-lawyer, though I was a law enforcement officer, discussing about these issues, sometimes it may appear that there is a proverb in English that's called taking coal to the new castle. New castle is a place which has coal mines. So if someone is taking coal to the new castle, it will be like that, me talking about the law to the advocates. Since I worked in Orissa and I spent much of my productive years in Orissa, my first posting also started in Talcher, which is the coal mines of Orissa. Adopting that English proverb, that to the Orissa context or Indian context, it is like me taking coal to the Talcher. But nonetheless, there are certain aspects of coal which are not available in Talcher and Newcastle that I would like to take and present before the learned advocate friends and others, so that we can take the issue forward in creating awareness about this existential issue. Now I would like to go to the, how do I go to the PowerPoint presentation? I think, yeah, it is there. Just one second, give me a minute. Okay. Now this is the the topic is Constitution of India. Constitution of India and equal rights for Hindus. And that is the topic on this important occasion. Now, for any society or a community or a group of people, in order for them to survive, progress, and grow, there are certain fundamental freedoms or rights which are very essential. Some of these are I have enumerated, you can see on the slide. The political freedom, religious freedom, cultural freedom, educational freedom, economic freedom. Without these freedoms and rights, no society or no community or no group can prosper. Now, the question is whether the Constitution of India guarantees all these to all the sections of the people. That is the issue that we are going to discuss. Now, let's take the political freedoms. Whether Hindus have the political freedoms in India for them to grow and prosper and survive. Yes, under the constitution, Hindus do have all political rights. But the issue is that it is a function of relative demography. The constitution alone would not be able to guarantee it if you do not maintain relative advantage with regard to the demography. So right now, since Hindus are in majority, we do have political freedoms. And the next is religious freedom to Hindus in India. Whether do we have that? Now, Article 25 of the Constitution deals with religious freedom. I'm quoting the clause 1 of the article, which I have given in the slide. You can read that. The religious freedom has three components under the Article 25. One is profess, practice, and propagate religion. I would like to mention that the Indian Constitution is the only constitution in the world which has the word propagate as a fundamental right incorporated in the Constitution. It's quite a peculiar thing. Nonetheless, we'll discuss further. Now, the profess. Whether Hindus have the right to freely profess their religion. Now, these are the areas or the states where Hindus are in minority or almost minuscule minority. You take Kashmir, Nagaland, Mizoram, Meghalaya, Lakshadweep, and there are many pockets where Hindu percentage is far below certain districts or certain places or towns and like this. We know very well what has happened to Hindus in Kashmir and what is happening there. The peculiarity of the Kashmir situation is that the Hindu tourists are welcome because they go there and spend money, but Hindu residents are not welcome there. Anyone who is there, they are persecuted genocidally, and there are waves of persecution and exodus. It is almost free of Hindus in Kashmir. Nagaland, almost everyone has been converted. Mizoram, same is the case. Meghalaya, more than 95% converted. Lakshadweep, almost 100% non-Hindus. And like this, there are many pockets. Now, in these places, if you go and talk to the people or a minuscule Hindus who live there, whether they are able to profess their religion, Hinduism, freely there, the answer is a big negative. Now, the question is the constitution, yes, it does guarantee. But then, until and unless the Indian state has the capacity to enforce that right of anybody, anywhere in this country, any corner, to freely profess his religion, that particular right is as good as non existent. So, in the case I may have mentioned there, it is very difficult for Hindus to freely profess their religion, and that's a reality. There's no point in denying a reality. If anyone has any doubt, one can go and experience it personally. Then the second is whether Hindus have the second component of the religious freedom, whether Hindus have the right to freely practice Hinduism. Now, practice includes many things. Now, for instance, Article 44 says about the much talked about Uniform Civil Code. Though the Constitution enjoined upon the government to enact Uniform Civil Code in the year 1955, 54, 54, 55, 56. Instead of enacting a Uniform Civil Code, the government of India enacted what is called a Hindu Code. Hindu Code means it includes marriage, divorce, family, inheritance, and such other kind of personal issues. Now, peculiarly, if you look at the Hindu Code, there are 4 acts in that. Except the word Hindu in the title of the bills or the acts, there is nothing Hindu in those code or laws. It is all English common law that has been imported as and enacted as the Hindu code. Whereas now the UCC also, I have a lot of apprehensions because a lot of people are very enthusiastic that no, we must have a UCC. Now, suppose in the name of UCC, you incorporate Sharia, the provisions of Sharia, and enact it. Will that be acceptable? The problem is people talk only about the UCC without explaining the contours of that UCC. What does it contain? Whether it contains English common law, our Dharmasastra provisions of the Dharmasastras and Sutras, or it contains the Christian law, or it contains the Sharia, or it contains the best of all those things. Now, until and unless that draft is uh, given, it's very dangerous path that the UCC will take. Then, as regard the other one about the banning Hindu religious beliefs selectively as superstitions. Karnataka, do you know the Karnataka and Maharashtra states have enacted what is called the superstition laws, whereby they are free to declare any particular belief as a superstition and stop it. And also the register cases are book people under the criminal law, under that particular law for practicing that. And it's only Hindu, though the superstition laws do not specifically mention about Hindu beliefs, they say about beliefs, but the law enforcement is only against Hindus. Now you see the case of healing missions of the Christian missionaries, health missions of Christian missionaries, where thousands of people are gathered and all kinds of things are done, which are superstition, that the Jesus is coming or some God is coming and some angel is coming to protect them, and whosoever is having ailments, those ailments will be cured if they believe in Jesus or they convert or all those kind of things. Same thing happens with the Muslim. See, religion is essentially a belief system. Now, the moment you start declaring any belief as a superstition, then every religion has to be declared as superstition. But unfortunately, only Hindu belief systems are declared as superstitions and outlawed. It is under these provisions, Aghoras, who are one of the spiritual seeking people, now they are almost non existent. In the last 50 or 70 years of the constitution, the Aghoras now they don't exist. That science is gone, that knowledge is gone, that spirituality is gone. Now, Anand Margis, particularly people in Orissa know, Anand Margis were people who were following certain traditional practices in Bengal, parts of Orissa, Jharkhand, Bihar, and Assam, and these areas. Now, in those times when I was in police, initial days of my this one, I used to get the central government instructions. Anand Margis, wherever they are, they should be kept under watch and all those kind of things. Now, Anand Margis are also gone. That particular way of worshipping God, tantric systems is gone. Like this, there are many tantric knowledge. Tantra has gone completely. Mantra, Tantra, Yantra. These are the 3 things in Hindu system of worship or reaching God. Now, one of the thing is Tantra is gone. It is entirely because the government does not give Hindus the right to freely practice Hinduism. Now, other small things. Now, Honorable Supreme Court has interfered and declared in Sabarimala that even women can also go there. But there is a thousand years of hundreds of years of traditional custom where women in prime age are not allowed because the deity, the Bhagwan there, the Ayappa Bhagwan there, only that particular temple, he is a Naistika Brahmachari. That means he cannot even see women who are in prime age because he has taken that Nishta. Now, Supreme Court says that no, you cannot do it because under the Constitution, the women have a right to enter. And who are the people who filed case in Supreme Court? They are Christians who have nothing to do with Hinduism, and atheists who have nothing to do with any religion. And similarly, take the case of Shani Mandir in Maharashtra, Jallikattu, the religious practice in Tamil Nadu, Kambala, another religious sport in Karnataka, and Diwali, firecrackers. You cannot have firecrackers, but whereas on the New Year day, you can have firecrackers, or on celebrating and anything you can have firecrackers. Even for a politician getting elected to celebrate his victory, he can have firecrackers. He can, but then on Diwali day you are prohibited from it, because only on Diwali day if you do the firecracking, then it will lead to pollution. The selective, it's a targeting of Hindu festivals. Similarly, Holi, no, waterless Holi. What is this nonsense, waterless Holi? Without water, how do you do that? Whereas you take the case of all other festivals, they do all kinds of things, yet you don't ban it. We are not saying they should be banned, but why ban us? Let Hindus have their freedom to practice. And take the case of Pashubali. There is a Tripureshwari Mandir in Tripura. The Honorable High Court banned it. Now, whereas we kill lakhs of animals every day, from chicken to goats to sheep to some people even cow and then buffaloes, you name it. Lakhs of people, lakhs of animals are killed every day. But a Pashubali before a deity once in a on a particular occasion is prohibited. And this in spite of the fact that Article 48 says that cow slaughter should be banned, but yet we are allowing it, whereas there is no such provision in the Constitution, yet Pashubali is banned. Then the Honorable Supreme Court in 1953, they have given what are the essential practices of a religion, and they came up with a doctrine called Doctrine of Essential Religious Practice. Now, who are they to prescribe what are the essential practice of religion? Okay, even if they do it. In case of Islam and Christianity, they have only one book where things are mentioned. But in case of Hindus, we don't have one particular book. We don't have the one particular practice. It varies from place to place. And yet Supreme Court came up with what is called Doctrine of Essential Religious Practice. But what are those essentials? It has not given. It has simply said that there will be a test of essential religious practice, and if it passes through that, then we will allow that practice or that custom. Now, is Supreme Court a Dharmacharya Parishad? Do they have ecclesiastical jurisdiction? Whether the Constitution discusses about ecclesiastical jurisdiction of Honorable Supreme Court and High Court, why should they enter into arena where they are neither empowered nor have knowledge to do that? So, from all this, it appears that the Constitution, our secular Constitution, is being used to deform and destroy Hinduism in the guise of reform. So, the conclusion is that, or inference is that, the right of Hindus to practice their religion is severely curtailed, whereas others' religious right to practice their religions is not. Then the third aspect of the religious freedom is propagation of religion. Now, it's a very tricky term, as I have already mentioned, that this word propagation of religion is only found in the Indian Constitution. No other country has this particular provision in their constitutions. Now, I say that this is not an equality. This is actually an inequality built into in the name of equality. How is that? Now there are two type of religions, Abrahamic and non-Abrahamic, as you see on the slide. I take an example so that it becomes easy. There are two classes of animals. One is herbivorous, that is vegetarian. Other is carnivorous, that is non-vegetarian. Now, let's say the deers and deers are vegetarian, as you know, and wolves are non-vegetarian. Now, if you give the equal right to wolf and deer, that you have a right to eat one another. Now, the right given to wolf becomes a license to kill the deer, whereas the right given to the deer is useless because the deer doesn't know what is meant by killing and eating non-vegetarian food. So, likewise, the Abrahamic religion, by their nature, by their doctrine, by their purpose, they are expansionist. They convert people. They do proselytization. They do evangelization. And in fact, one of the conditions is that if a Christian or a Muslim, if he converts a non-Christian or a Muslim into their respective faiths, then he is sure to be given a place in heaven. That is the incentive they get it. Whereas in case of Hinduism, Sikhism, Jainism, or like this, our religion say we follow our path, you follow your path. So we have nothing called conversion as per our doctrines. So the right to freely propagate Hinduism, to propagate the right given to Hindus is an absurd right because we don't know how to use it, whereas it is a license for others. So this is the thing. And if you go to the Greek Constitution, Article 13, Clause 2 of the Greek Constitution explicitly prohibits any kind of proselytization or conversion. It is a Greek country. It's in Europe. It is also a democratic country like India. All Islamic countries have banned conversions. China has banned conversions. Whereas we have incorporated this right to propagate in our constitution and given license to Christians and Muslims to destroy Hinduism and Indian Hindu civilization. This is the most tragic part of it. Now the next is whether Hindus have a right to freely manage temples. This is the fourth aspect of religious freedom. Article 27, you can please read it. It has four components and it does not discriminate. It gives right to every religious group to establish and maintain institutions for their religious and charitable purpose and manage their own affairs without any interference from anyone. So far so good, there is no problem in that. But there is a small issue that is the source of big problem for Hindus. Article 25.2, that is clause 2 of Article 25, has these provisions which you can read. And in subclause B, there is a mention that the government can make laws providing for social welfare and reform or throwing open of Hindu religious institutions of public character to all classes and sections of Hindus. So far, so good. I do not question the intention of the constitution makers. But its effect and its action we should see. In the name of social welfare and reform, what we have done. Also, I invite your attention to explanation 2 given in the Article 25, which I have mentioned in the clause, where it has defined what is meant by Hindu. It means Hindu includes Hindu, Sikh, Jain, and Buddha. So when the context comes, I will mention that. So till such time, just read this and keep it in your mind. Now, what is the reality with regard to the management of the temples? This is the issue that we are talking about. This is the topic, that is whether Hindus have right to freely manage the temples. Now, the reality is almost every state has made laws taking over Hindu temples, and in certain states the takeover is complete. In certain states the control is there. In certain other states the control is tenuous, but nonetheless every state from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Gujarat to Manipur, every state have laws or used other particular provisions of laws to take over Hindu temples or manage them or interfere in their affairs or appoint their own people. So this is a reality. As a result, there are more than 2 lakh temples under government control. Can you imagine? In Orissa itself, there are 16,500 odd temples. In Andhra Pradesh, 23,000. In Telangana, around 13,000. In Karnataka, around 28,000. And in Tamil Nadu, it is around 45,000. Here itself, it is nearly 1.5 lakh. And then in Kerala, it is 3,500. So, like this. So, every state from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, Gujarat to Manipur, they have made laws and took over temples. And these temples have more than 20 lakh acres of temple lands, land grants given by people over a period of time, thousands of years, over thousands of years. Now, take the case of our Prabhu Jagannath temple in Puri. It has 65,000 acres of land. And how much revenue it is getting? And where is it going? And whether it is being used for the religious welfare of the people, so that no, they do not, they will not be converted to other religions. So these are the big questions. Then every year these temples have thousands of crores as income. Now Tirupati temple around 2,000 crores is its income. That is officially accounted for it. God knows how much it is unaccounted. Like Puri also, it has thousands of hundreds of crores of income. Now there is an interesting case. Gujarat government, when World Bank refused funding for the Sardar Sarovar Dam, Gujarat government took over money from all the temples and used it for construction of Sardar Sarovar, which is a secular thing. How can it be done? Whereas Hinduism is suffering from resources, the Hindu money is getting into the secular activity. The fourth aspect of the temples is temples have become government offices. You will find only government officers, the politicians belonging to the ruling establishment, the ruling party, appointed to the committees and boards and trusts. The executive officers or the administrators or IAS officers or OAS officers or other state government officers. And it is then economic activity. Now, last year, Supreme Court, no, there is a temple called Sri Salem Temple in Andhra Pradesh. The temple came up with advertisement that for temple, for shops in the temple premises. One Muslim also applied. They said, no, you are a Muslim, we will not give. That gentleman went to Supreme Court saying that, no, I have applied for tender and they have rejected. Then the Honorable Supreme Court said, no, you cannot, because he is a Muslim, you cannot do that. So he has to be considered. Now he is the one, he is also there within the, like this, many temples have non-Hindus in their premises doing various kinds of activities and which are not permitted elsewhere. Now the temples also been converted into what is called commercial centers. Everything is sold. If you go to a temple, you have to spend money. Suppose without money in your pocket, it is very difficult for you to visit any temple. Giving money as a dan or dakshina is different. But then forcing people, Hindu devotees, to pay it is a religious tax. You go to Tirupati, there are tickets varying from 10,000 rupees to 100 rupees. Now, if you pay this, then you will get early darshan. Same is the case with many temples across the country. Some places it is rupee, 1 rupee, some places it is 100 rupees. You take your car, then there is a parking fee. Your chapel, for chapel you have to pay money. There are some temples which do not charge, but most government temples which are under government, they do. Now, as a result, this is a religious tax. To see my own God, why should I pay money to the government? If I want to go and visit my Bhagwan को मैं दर्शन करना चाहता हूँ, so why should I pay? Is this not even Aurangzeb did not impose this kind of jizya tax as the secular constitution, under the secular constitution, secular laws, secular government is imposing. We are paying tax to see our own God. Now, what is the consequence of all this? Whether it is a religion or an institution or a family, money is required. Dhanam moolam idam jagat. Without dhanam, even dharma also cannot survive. But Hinduism is deprived of resources because temples have been taken over, their wealth has been taken over, their income is taken over by the government. Temples are the institutions of Hinduism, like church and masjid are the institutions of Christianity and Islam. Now, Hinduism is deprived of institutions and resources. Now, how does it survive? That is the question. Next, this is the status of the temples in a tabular form, where the green thing is that no is against. That means, are places of worship controlled by state governments? In case of Hindu, it is yes. In case of others, no. Can more places of worship be brought under government? Yes. In case of Muslim, Christian, and Sikh, no. Like this, then do practitioners have a say in the management? In the case of Hindu temples, no. Whereas in case of Muslim, Christian, and Sikhs, they alone manage their own temples. So this is the status of affairs with regard to the Hindu religious institutions. Now, how do we say that Hindus have equal rights to manage their own temples? Then the third right, that is the sectarian funding, that is economic freedom or other things that I have mentioned in the beginning. Sectarian funding means no groups. The heading is that sectarian funding destroying Hinduism. Article 27. I invite all my advocate friends who are watching it to kindly see the Article 27, which is given in the slide. It's very good, absolutely no issue. No person shall be compelled to pay any taxes, the proceeds of which are specially appropriated in payment of expenses for the promotion or maintenance of any particular religion. That's it's good. In other words, all that it simply says is that no tax shall be imposed by the government to promote a particular religion. Well, that's good because that is the required. But what is the reality? Now, in the last 8-9 years, I have compiled, this is the data I got from 2014 to 2023. 37,669 crores has been spent by the central government exclusively for the welfare of minorities. This is in addition to the normal funds for which they are also entitled. If there is a normal activity in which minorities are also entitled, but this 37,669 crores is exclusively for the minorities. Now, this is only central government. State governments, my estimate is, or guesstimate rather, is that if not more, at least equal amount is spent by all the state governments together. So, roughly around 75,000 to 80,000 crores has been spent in the last 8 years. That means annually 10,000 crores only for minorities. Now you see on the right side of the slide, if you see, there is a population as per census 2011. Now, as per census, Hindus are 79.80. That means there are 96 crores Hindus. Muslims are 14.23, and which translates to 17 crores. Christians 2.3, which translates to 2.78. Sikhs are 1.72%, which translates to around 2 crores, and so on and so forth. Now, you compare for people who are 20%, 1,80,000 crores has been spent in last 8 years. That is 10,000 a year. How much money has been spent for Hindus? A big zero. If you go by the population percentage, then if 10,000 crores is spent for minorities who constitute 20%, then 40,000 crores should have been exclusively spent for Hindus alone. But not even 40 paise has been spent by either state government or central government for Hindus. Now, how does this square with Article 27? When you ask this question, some intelligent people who try to be clever by half, they say, no, the Constitution said the government cannot impose any tax exclusively for that purpose, whereas we are only taking it from the consolidated fund of India and consolidated fund of state. That is from the normal taxes, we are only appropriating it to them. Is it not the same thing? Whether it is an exclusive tax or whether it is taken a part of it is a portion from the normal tax and exclusively spent, is it in tune with Article 27? Certainly not. But then that is the argument that is given to us. Then you see the number of schemes for Muslims and Christians here. How many schemes are there? You see, you can see the list is unending. And is there any scheme for Hindus? No, not even one scheme for Hindus. And this is thanks to Sajar Committee, which was constituted in during UPA time, and it continues even till date. And then you see the number of there is an exclusive minority affairs ministry in the central government and also minority affairs departments in many state governments. And there is a national commission for minorities and there is a state commission for minorities in various states. There are work boards in every state. And then there is a work board is essentially to protect the Waqf land, that is Muslim religious land given for charitable purpose. And and then there is a Hajj committee exclusively for this. Then there is a National Minorities Development Finance Commission. Is there a National Majority Development Finance Commission? No, it's only for minorities. Then there is a Waqf Development Corporation. All this is under from the secular funds. These are not from the minorities funds or Muslim funds are given by them. These are given from secular consolidated fund. Then there is a Maulana Azad Educational Foundation exclusively for minorities. And for Hindus, a big zero. Then similarly, Sajar Committee, 5 crore scholarships for minority students in 5 years. That means every year they are giving 1 crore. And what is the effect of this? We have to see. I give an example. It is not an hypothetical example. It is very much a real example. And there are so many such cases are also happening. Now, in a class, if there are 2 students, a Hindu boy and a minority boy, the minority boy could be, or let's say there are 3, a Hindu boy, a Christian boy, and a Muslim boy. Now, one day the teacher comes and announces that, the Muslims and Christian boys, they are entitled to free school uniforms, cycles, and then some scholarship and other things. Then Hindu boy stands up and says, sir, what about me? I am also in the same economic status as my classmates are, because we are no better off economically, and our status is same. We live in the same street. Our standard of living is same, and we also have the same problem. Please also give me. Then the teacher says, no, you are not a minority student. You are a Hindu, so therefore you are not entitled to it. The boy dejected. Now, if he gets, imagine that if he is converted next day, he becomes a Muslim or a Christian next day, and then comes to school and tells the teacher, sir, now I have become a Muslim or a Christian, whatever. And then he immediately gets the benefits that are given to the Muslims and Christian. What do you infer from this? Is it any different from the Christian missionary or a Dawati, where they convert Hindus, private people converting Hindus to Christianity or Islam? The state is incentivizing conversion of Hindus to non-Hindus. We have no problem in as far as the helping minority people. But why take religion? You take economic criteria. Anyone below certain economic criteria, he should get it. Well, how does it matter for the government, secular government, whether he's a Muslim, Christian, Hindu, or Sikh, Jain, or atheist? Why should they bother for religion of the person and then give scholarship? By doing so, are you not behaving like a missionary and missionary? And what is the difference between you, between the state government and central government, and the missionary? That is the big question. It is not about the money. It is about the principle that is involved. Then the Sajar committee, somebody called it Naukri Jihad. Then I added Job Crusade. Jihad and crusade are religious wars of the respective religions. Now, here is a report. I have given the link. UPSC favors Muslims in interviews. This report says that 5 to 11 marks extra are given to Muslims by the UPSC in the civil service examination, that is IAS, IPS, income tax, and these examinations. Now, in civil service examination, half a mark makes or breaks the future of a student. Now, imagine the UPSC favoring Muslims from 5 to 11 marks because of Sajar committee. Then the OBCs are essentially, they are part of the Hindu society. Caste system is only Hindu society. But then a large number of Muslims and Christians have been included as OBCs. It negates the whole purpose of the OBCs. Now, what is happening is they eat into the reservation meant for upliftment of OBCs in Hindu society, because there is no caste in other religions, or at least that is the reason they give to convert Hindus. Now, recently, the government has also constituted what is called Justice K.G. Balakrishna Commission for giving SC status to converted SCs. Now, the missionaries and Muslims, they convert scheduled castes by abusing Hinduism, saying that Hinduism ill-treats you. Now, you come to Islam or Christianity so that you get equal respect. Now, if the basis for conversion is to get the equal status, respect, and all other things, and then yet after conversion, if they are demanding scheduled caste status, how does it gel with the reason for conversion? Why should a SC convert? Now, by doing so, by giving SC status, we are only facilitating conversion of scheduled castes into other religions, because there is no disincentive in conversion. Then, next, 1 second. Okay. Now the next, all this minority appeasement, Ambedkar has beautifully explained in his book. I've given here, Pakistan or the Partition of India. It's one of the brilliant books by Ambedkar. At page 270, he has mentioned, we have, we in the sense government and the society, and Hindus also, Congress and any party, we have failed to realize that policy of concession has increased Muslim aggressiveness and Muslims interpret these concessions as a sign of defeatism on the part of the Hindus and the absence of the will to resist. So you are not actually promoting welfare of the nation or promoting unity and integrity of the nation by indulging in minority appeasement. By all means, let us take care of every citizen of this country without any whether he is a Muslim or a Christian or a Hindu, without any consideration for Hindu. If a particular person, irrespective of his religion, requires help from government, economic help, social help, he must get it. But why tag it to his religion? That is the biggest danger that we are going to face. Now, what are the consequences? I have already explained. No, minority is anathema to secularism. It's a very interesting thing. The state has no religion. The constitution has no religion. The government has no religion. When it does not have religion, where is the question of minority? When a particular religion is majority, or the state says that, okay, this is my religion, so this is majority, so then you recognize the minority so that no, their rights can be protected. When the state says, constitution says that there are no religion, it has no religion, and our religion is secularism, and how can you say that Hindus are majority? Where is it mentioned that Hindus are majority? And second, the Jain, Buddha, Sikh, which have flagged the issue a few minutes ago under Article 25, it says that Hindu includes Jain, Buddha, and Sikh. Now it's a fraud by they have declared Jain, Buddha, and Sikh as minorities. Isn't it a fraud when the constitution clearly says Hindus include Jain, Buddha, and Sikh, whereas by law the government declares these people as minorities? Then, as I have already mentioned, the minority appeasement schemes, it is a big fraud on the Article 27. And it's also fraud on national unity and integrity. You are not going to work towards improving the national unity and integrity by appeasing certain sections. You should take care of everyone, whosoever is needy. As already mentioned, Indian state is the biggest missionary and Dawati in converting Hindus. And Hindus are funding their own destruction. Because of their silence, they are funding their own destruction because they contribute to the secular funds, consolidated fund of India and state. Then the fourth right, or last right, is one. Denial of cultural and educational rights is fragmenting Hindu society. Now, this is Article 28. It says that there shall be no religious instruction in any educational institutions wholly maintained out of state funds. And here also, no person attending education is recognized by state or receiving aid out of state funds. Also, any educational institution receiving state funds also cannot teach religious instruction. But what is religious instruction? Nowhere it is defined, because it is left to the executive government and in the education boards or the education departments and ministries. Now, over a period of time, the left liberal establishment in the country has declared unofficially, nowhere in writing, that anything that is Hindu is religious. So you cannot even teach Niti Shastra. You can't teach Ardha Shastra. You can't teach Mahabharata, which is not a religious book. And we are a knowledge-based civilization. Our civilization, this ancient, glorious civilization, which is the only civilization, ancient civilization that is surviving for thousands and thousands of years, 10,000 years or maybe much more, God knows, Bhagavan knows how many years. We are surviving essentially because we are a knowledge-based civilization since time immemorial. We have achieved great heights in mathematics, science, arts, architecture. You see Konark Temple, you see Puri Temple, you see Brodeshwara Temple. Without science, do you think our people have constructed? What great heights they have reached in every field. Linguistics, Panini's Astadhyayi, no, even today, no book excels Panini's Astadhyayi in linguistics, in phonetics, and literature. Our Sanskrit Vangmaya, I mean, in every our language is so rich, so much. Even in warfare, political science, you name a subject and we have it. But we have banished teaching of all our traditional knowledge in formal education system, thanks to Article 28, because we classified that as informally classified that as religious instruction. Now, Rigveda is the oldest known text. Can you imagine? But we have banished it. Whereas you go to Europe, they teach all their old literature, ancient literature, which are not more than 1000 or 1500 or 2000 year old. And Mahabharata is the longest book ever written, 1 lakh slokas. And we are made to feel ashamed of our literature, of our achievements, of our ancestors and of great progenies, ancestors, because these are not being taught. Our knowledge is stolen, plagiarized, and comes back to us. Take the case of yoga. People take the yogasanas, yoga mudras, and all those things, and they come up with English language, English names. Instead of calling, giving credit, they plagiarize it. Then, for instance, dhyanam. No, nobody calls it dhyanam. We call it as meditation. Even we are forgetting our own words. We banished everything from our tradition. So now, I ask another question. Now, this is a civilization. Now, who inherits this civilization? Whether Indian state inherits it or not. Of course, American state or American country cannot be the trustee or inheritor of Hindu civilization, nor Pakistan, because it has declared itself as an Islamic country, and also Bangladesh. Now, who is the owner? Who is the inheritor? Who is the trustee of this civilization? It has to be Indian state, because this civilization, this religion, it originated here, and now currently in the Indian government, Indian state is in charge of the affairs. So it ought to be the trustee. Now, being a trustee, what is your responsibility under the trustee laws? Because all my advocate friends know it. Because a trustee cannot deplete what he has received. He can only add or value add it. If he cannot add any value, he should at least pass it on to the next without depleting its value. But Indian state, what is it doing? It positively destroying what it has received in trust, that is Indian civilization, Hindu civilization. So therefore, even from that simple trustee the jurisprudence, the Indian state is failing. Indian constitution is failing. Now, how will a civilization survive if the state positively works against it? No, even the fact that we are talking in English, it is such a shame. We have so many languages, from Sanskrit to every Indian language has more literature than many languages in the whole world. You take the case of Oriya, Telugu, Tamil, Marathi, Bengali, Assamese, Maithili, you take any language. We are proud, but somehow our constitution does not make it. Why can't we have, if European Union has 23 official languages, why can't we have all the 22 languages recognized in Article what is that, say, Schedule 8 or Schedule 8 as official languages, and with instant translation and everything? Did we not survive before 1950 or before advent of British without English? What was the common language then? We did have our own common language, either Sanskrit or some other language. Why can't we have? Why should we, when we have such a rich language, linguistic history? and languages, why should we import a foreign language and continue it? It's a shame. I feel ashamed that no, we have to speak in a foreign language amongst us. Then Article 29, it says, no, you see the heading, though there is no problem with regard to the body of this one. It shows how there is lack of diligence in drafting the constitution. It says protection of interests of minorities in the heading, but whereas there is nothing, no word minority in the body of the article. It is for everyone. But the judiciary uses this heading that no, Article 29 gives only cultural and educational rights to minorities, not to others. Then Article 30, it says right of minorities to establish. Only minorities have right to establish and administer education. Why? Why can't majority have one minority? What sin the majority have committed that they should be deprived of this right to establish and administer educational institutions? Now, what is the effect, combined effect of this? As we have already discussed, secularism. I think there is a now. I think the slide there is a in the sequence there is a problem. So under the Article 30, because now it is only minorities have exclusive rights to establish and administer education religious. Hindus do have civil as a matter of civil right, but not as a fundamental right. The government has enacted National Commission for Minority Educational Institutions Act 2004. So this commission, National Commission for Minority Education, it protects educational rights of minorities. But who will protect the educational rights of majority Hindus? There's nobody. It can intervene before courts when minority educational rights are infringed. And also whether the minority character of institutions, educational institutions is changed. But what about Hindus and their educational institutions? There is none. Then what is the combined effect of Article 28, 29, 30, the National Commission for Minority Act and RTA Act? It prevents intergenerational transmission of civilization knowledge. Now, recently we had a meeting in Delhi. There it is mentioned that out of some 30 sakhas in Vedas, now only 2 or 3 remains. Just in the last 50 years, 27 to 28 sakhas have disappeared because we do not promote intergenerational transmission of civilization knowledge. Those Vedic knowledge is not promoted. Vedas are not promoted. Then, since Hindus only have the civil right, as education as a civil right, not as a fundamental right, the state imposes, state means education department, the interference is so much that many sections of Hindus want to say that they want to, they are not Hindus. Why Jains, Buddhists and Sikhs have been segregated, demanded and became minorities, it is because of this, that no deprivation of educational right. Now, RK Math, there is a Ramakrishna Math. Ramakrishna Math was started by Swami Vivekananda, who was the greatest exponent of Hinduism. Now, because of the harassment by the West Bengal government, the Ramakrishna Math filed a case in Calcutta High Court sometime, I think some 20, 30 years ago. Calcutta High Court declared them, I think, as the minority. And luckily, matter went up to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court set it aside, saying that no, Ramakrishna Math is part of the Hindu religion. Then Lingayats there is a group called Lingayats in Karnataka, parts of Telangana and parts of Maharashtra. Now they are saying that we are not Hindus because Lingayatism should be declared as a separate religion. So what is the effect of this Article 30? The effect of Article 30 is it is fragmenting Hindu society, so that you break the Hindu society, so that more and more people will go away from there. So they will be given minority. So that way you can destroy Hindu society. Now the other aspect is Article 28, as I said about the not teaching of the our civilizational knowledge. Now we do not become what we eat, but we certainly become what we read. For instance, if I eat chicken, I won't become chicken. If I eat vegetable, I don't become vegetable. But whereas if I read communist, if I am taught communist literature, the chances of my becoming a communist are very high. If I am taught only Islamic or a Christian literature again and again, the chances of my becoming a Muslim or a Christian are very high. And likewise, if I am taught about Hindu religion, the chances of my remaining Hindu are very high. So, by depriving Hindus of their religious and civilizational knowledge, we are being denuded of our own knowledge and we are made ready for conversions. And the other aspect is our education system is because of this Article 28, 29, 30, it is taking Hindu kids. It's like it has become a factory where Hindu kids are taken, they are manufactured into anti-Hindu adults and sent out. So this is the situation we have, where the state is, and the constitution are working against Hindu religion, against our civilization. It is very peculiar. Nowhere in the world such a situation is there. Now, interestingly, I should tell you, this is a remove minority. In the year 1996, 1995, there was a person by name Syed Shahabuddin. Many of you must have heard. He belonged to the what is called Muslim Indian. He was a radical Muslim. He was a retired Indian Foreign Service officer. He started a Muslim Indian magazine. He was a member of parliament, and he was one of the main opponents of the Ram Janmabhoomi construction of temple in Ram Janmabhoomi. Now, such a radical Muslim was opposed to many things Hindu. He took pity on Hindus. That look, what is this nonsense? This is supposed to be a Hindu country, and you cannot even establish your own religious institutions to teach your own civilizational knowledge. Nor why should it be denied? So he introduced a private members bill number 36 of 1995 in the Lok Sabha. Naturally, private member bills get defeated, but the point is it shows apathy of Hindus and also concern of even non-Hindus towards pathetic state of Hindu educational system. And this is something that all Hindus have to ponder over. Now, there is another index. Okay. People may say, okay, fine, Mr. Nageswara is saying all these things, but isn't it too legalistic, too theoretical? Is it really happening what is he saying? I say yes, because no, as regards the temples, that is a fact which is there. So temples have been taken over. Minority appeasement, of course, is a facts available. But with regard to the religion, etc., they may say, no, he is only imagining things. But I'm not imagining. What is another index? If a religion is well taken care of, if a person is taken care of, he grows. If a family is taken care of, they grow. If a community is taken care of, they grow and prosper. Likewise, if a religion is taken care of, they prosper, they grow. Now, at the time of partition in the year 1947, and as per 1951 census, Hindus were 85%. That is just 70 years ago. No, this is 60 years ago. As per 2011 census, Hindus were 79.8%. In other words, there is how many percent? 5.2% Hindu decline. This is officially, but this is not correct figure. The reason being, Christians, Hindus after conversion, they do not reveal to the official statistics that they are converted. You go to Kandhamal district in Orissa, where most of the converts, when you go there, you ask them, they say we are Hindu, but actually he goes to church. And interestingly, in Andhra Pradesh, in the year 1971 census, there were more Christian than today now. Today there are anywhere up to 15-20%, whereas in 1971, as per official statistics, it was I think 4 or 5%. Now officially it is 2.3 or 2.4%. So it's all deception that is going on. So my guesstimate is that Hindus are not more than 70%. So today, in just 70 years, it's a 15% reduction in Hindus. Now, population or anything they grow, if you see the geometrical progression or geometrical decline. Now, at this rate, by 2050, Hindus will be in minority. Hindus will be less than 50%. Kerala, which had 70%, now today it is less than 50%. Now, this is an indicator. Demography is an index, whether Hindus have equal rights or not. You take the case of Hindus in Pakistan and Bangladesh, 1947. Pakistan had, I think, around 20%, and Bangladesh had around 30% or like that, or whatever maybe. I'm just guessing. Today, Pakistan has less than 2% Hindus, and Bangladesh has less than around roughly around 10%. Where have they gone? Because there are no equal rights there, they tend to convert to other religions, that is Islam. And here what is happening? Do we have, if Hindus have equal rights, then the minority should convert to Hindus, or if they have more rights. On the contrary, Hindus do not have equal rights. This is the biggest index. The declining demography, relative decline of Hindu demography is an index, is a worrying index that Hindus do not have equal rights on par with those in minorities. In other words, the condition of Hindus in India is no different than in Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan. The only thing is that it is not evident because for the time being we are majority, but this majority is only nebulous. It is going down and down and down. We are on the downhill. On the contrary, I would also like to say the Hindus in Pakistan and Bangladesh have one right more than Hindus in India. What is that? There in Pakistan and Bangladesh, Hindu temples are not under the government control. They are under the Hindu society manage whomsoever, whether it's 1% or then they manage in whatever pathetic condition, but they do manage. Hindu government does not manage. Whereas in India, the secular India has deprived Hindus even that right also. So we are worse. Hindus are worse in India than in Pakistan and Bangladesh. This is a reality. I am not alarmist, nor I am a fabulist. I am not telling you a story. I am only storifying a fact. Now, what is the solution? Because whenever I talk about this one, because it is easy to talk about the problems, but you need to offer viable solutions. The Constitution has been amended, as you all know, advocate friends, more than 100 times since it came into existence. Even since 2014 also, it has been amended 7 times. So this is what is required. Amend Article 12. You may wonder why Article 12. Because as advocates, you know it. Article 12 defines what is state. It does not, it says anything under the government or receiving the, funds from the government, etc., is state. Now, temples have been taken over by the government, or when temples or religious institutions receive fund, then there is a tendency to say that that is state. So once it becomes state, it is amenable to the writ jurisdiction of the high courts and Supreme Court. That is how the Honorable Supreme Court and High Court, they interfere in Hindu temples, temple matters, because temples are under the government. So therefore, this particular exclusion should be mentioned in the in Article 12, that no, the state does not include religious institutions. Then insert Article 12A and 12B. These were 12A and 12B. 12A is essentially from the US Constitution. US Constitution has a provision. It's a beautiful provision, you must read, all of you. It says that the rights enumerated in the Constitution are only some of the rights, and the rest of enumerated in the Constitution, and rest of the rights are retained by the people. In the absence of such a provision in Indian Constitution, our honorable high courts and honorable Supreme Court, they are assuming that all the residual rights do not rest with the people. So therefore, they are depriving, the judiciary is depriving the people of the residuary rights. So we need to have a provision that is similar to the one that exists in the US Constitution. Therefore, I suggest that a new Article 12A should be inserted. For instance, no, the Jallikattu or these all other sports, or even Dahi Handi. What business the courts have that no, the Dahi Handi height, the human pyramid should not be more than this height? Because these are our residuary rights. Constitution cannot take away our rights. They can only codify it. Because it is the rights belong to people. The Supreme Court or the judiciary or the executive cannot take our rights. Then the other one is harmonious interpretation. Even though the Honorable Supreme Court keeps saying that the fundamental rights given in Chapter 3 should be read harmoniously, but oftentimes we see that one right is given predominance over the other. If they are fundamental rights, if they are fundamental to the dignified existence and living of human beings or citizens of India, how can one right take precedence over the other? They have to be read harmoniously. That harmonious reading and interpretation of the fundamental rights is something that is lacking. Because, for instance, you take the case of Sabarimala. Now, there is a religious right of Hindus to manage their affairs, religion, and there is also right to life, there is also right to equality. Now, the Supreme Court says this right to equality and should overtake the religious right of Hindus in managing their affairs. So therefore, we are directing that the woman should enter the temple. Now, is this harmonious interpretation or is a destructive interpretation of the provisions of the Part 3? So therefore, there should be explicit provision by inserting Article 12 that all the fundamental rights must be read and interpreted harmoniously by not giving any one particular right supremacy over the other. Then amend Articles 25 to 30 as we have discussed. You give equal rights to everyone. Remove the word propagate, because no constitution has that particular thing. So without removing that word propagate from Article 25, no amount of lawmaking that is anti-conversion laws will have any effect. In fact, they become counterproductive. Orissa has anti-conversion law since 1967. Has it stopped any conversion? No. In fact, no. The moment you enforce the law, then the missionaries use it to create further atrocity literature and vilify Hinduism. Then, lastly, free Hindu temples. That means after amending the constitution provisions as mentioned above, there should be a central act like Central Waqf Act or the Central Gurudwara Act which they have. The central government should make Central Temple Act, because under the this temple and religious affairs is in the concurrent list, and repeal all the state laws and give complete freedom to Hindu boards, Hindu dharmacharyas to frame their own rules, regulations, etc. to manage the temples, so that the institutions of temples and their resources can be used for religious welfare of Hindus, to prevent Hindus from getting converted and to take care of the propagation of our religious knowledge and texts. Then lastly, Kim Kartavyam. What do we do? How do we do it? There is a famous saying na যদি মা যদি যদি ছুয়া যদি if he doesn't cry, the mother also would not feed. If the child doesn't cry, even mother doesn't feed. Hindus should collectively cry in public, daily, every day, in every occasion, in every place. We should keep on telling, look, in this country, this is the so-called Hindu country or Hindu majority country, but Hindus do not have equal rights. Awareness, create awareness. Then build public pressure, engage with political parties, keep asking everyone, tell the politicians. Most politicians do not know this. And lastly, create value for Hindu vote. People should not take that Hindu vote as for granted. They should work. They should earn Hindu vote. If a political party or if a candidate wants my vote, he should earn my trust. He should earn my vote. By doing what? By working for Hindu interests, by removing Hindu discrimination, by redressing Hindu grievances, by giving equal rights for Hindus. We are not asking for more rights. The constitution and the government has placed sofas and made minorities sit on the sofas, and they made Hindus sit on the floor. All that Hindus are demanding is that you also give us one more sofa so that we also sit on the sofa. We do not want our minority brothers to be brought down. You raise up, you raise us up, you upgrade us to that level. This is what we have to we demand, and let us create value for Hindu vote, work for Hindu interests, and work for equal rights for Hindus. Thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity that you have given me and patiently heard me. And if there are any lacunae in my explanations and all that, I'm ready to answer within my limited knowledge, because you are all learned advocates who know the law, constitution, and courtcraft much deeper than I do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We are very grateful to you, sir. Very lucidly, beautifully, and very practically, sir, you have explained everything. Actually, sir, you have rightly said, we the Hindus, we are paying for our destruction, sir. Now it is the time to realize all these things, sir. I can say this first, that sir, your speech is a caveat for the entire Hindu society, sir. Now, sir, I am feeling privileged to introduce our state vice president of Adhivakta Parishad, Shri Rabinarayan Panda.
Rabindra Panda na Rabinarayan Panda?
Rabindra Panda, our
Okay.
state vice president. And he is practicing advocate at Bargarh.
Bargarh. Okay. Sito more Pulna Jilla.
Now I invite Rabi Bhai to propose the vote of thanks. Rabi Bhai. Rabi Bhai, now you may propose the vote of thanks, Rabi Bhai.
Am I audible? Shuna jauchi?
Yes, we are on live.
Devashish bhai?
Yes, you are audible.
Shuna jauchi?
Ha.
ठीक ଅଛି। ଆଜିର ସମ୍ବିଧାନ ଦିବସ କାର୍ଯ୍ୟକ୍ରମର ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଅନ୍ତିମ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟାୟ। ମୁଁ ପ୍ରଥମେ ଦୁଃଖର ସହିତ ପ୍ରକାଶ କରୁଛି, I could not be in the program from the inception because of some technical problem. Still, आज जो उद्देश्य कार्यक्रम को करा हेतिला हमर उद्देश्य सफल हेछि एवं हमर जे आज की नोट स्पीकर थिले श्रीमान एम नागेश्वर राव महोदय आम तांको संपर्क रे आगरो सुनिथिलु ही वाज आल्सो द एसपी ऑफ बरगढ़ डिस्ट्रिक्ट
Yes, yes.
एंड मोर कहबार गोटे माने कथा हला से किछि लोक उनको नहीं करी गोटे अनुष्ठान बा गोटे ऑफिस रो परिचय सृष्टि हुए किछि ऑफिस को नहीं करी किछि लोकंकर परिचय सृष्टि हुए जेमते कि इलेक्शन कमिशन कहिले टीएन सेशन को आगरू इलेक्शन कमिशन कौन लोक जानी नथिले जेमते कि आपनकर भारतर राष्ट्रपति जो आसिले राष्ट्रपति आगरू जानी नथिले
Abdul Kalam.
अब्दुल कलाम सुना जाउछि तो अब्दुल कलाम को आगरू राष्ट्रपति कौन राष्ट्रपति पदवीर माने गारिमा कौन लोक जानी नथिले तो से महान चरित्र मान को लेकरी से पदवी तार परिचिति सृष्टि करथिला ठीक सेमती बरगढ़ जिल्ला रे सार जेते बडे एसपी भाव में योगदान करथिले एसपी पदवीर गारिमा कौन सार को लेकर से गारिमा वृद्धि पाई लोक जानवर सुजोग पाई मैंने मैंने थैंक्स सर आज आपणकर बहुत मूल्यवान समय दे आमर कार्यक्रम रे की नोट स्पीकर हबार स्वीकृति देइछंती एंड आपण आज दिवस रे जहा किछि कहि गले बहुत आपणकर माने रिसर्चिकल माइंड प्रोवोकिंग एनालिटिकल डेलिबरेशन आउ हमको अनेक कथा जानिबार सुजोग देले तेणु आमे हमर अधिवक्ता परिषद ओडिशा प्रांत तरफ आपण को अनेक अनेक कृतज्ञता ज्ञापन करुछि एवं आज कार्यक्रम जो माने उद्योक्ता हमर राज्य महामंत्री राज्य संपादक देवाशीष भाई पूर्वतन संपादक ज्ञान भाई उपस्थित अन्य समस्त कर्मकर्ता एवं
Technical
Probably
problem.
there is some connectivity problem, sir. He is getting connected.
एवं दूरदरांतर दूरभाष माध्यम रे जो आम अधिवक्ता बंधु माने आज कार्यक्रम को उपस्थित रही शुणी समस्त को अनेक अनेक धन्यवाद दे आज कार्यक्रम समापन करने को मु आज कार्यक्रम परिचालक अनुरोध कर
धन्यवाद रवि भाई धन्यवाद सर आज कार्यक्रम मेमोरेबल हो रहिबो और एटा YouTube रे भी स्टोर हो रहिला समस्त या द्वारा बेनिफिटेड हेबे थैंक यू सर थैंक यू रवि भाई जय जगन्नाथ
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. So nice of you. Thank you.
थैंक यू